Welcome back to the channel where evolution takes the wheel and common sense takes a permanent vacation. Today we're diving into another round of real-life Darwin Awards. Those unforgettable moments when bad ideas meet bad timing. And the results are, well, let's just say nature cleans up the family tree for us. So buckle up, because in this compilation, we'll revisit some of the most spectacularly bad decisions ever made. Stories that prove evolution has a dark sense of humor and zero patience for stupidity. Number 1. Falling in love. Young love. Passionate, wild, full of adventure. And apparently, zero spatial awareness. A 21-year-old couple decided to take their relationship to new heights. Literally. Instead of a bed, they opted for a pyramid-shaped roof, because nothing says romance like sharp angles and a guaranteed trip to the ER. Witnesses say they were found completely naked on the ground below, which tells us two things. They were feeling the mood. They forgot that gravity doesn't care about romance. Authorities pieced the scene together like some kind of tragic, adult-rated Lego set. It seems their balancing act failed mid-session, and they plummeted to their deaths. I guess you could say they really fell in love. Unfortunately, Darwin himself would have given them a slow clap for demonstrating why rooftops are not a substitute for a mattress. Number 2. Backseat drivers. Next stop, a steamy SUV in Russia. A 22-year-old woman and her partner decided the back seat of a parked car was the ideal location for their private party. Sure, it was parked, but apparently the transmission was left in neutral, which, as we all know, is basically an invitation for gravity to throw a tantrum. As they were otherwise occupied, the SUV rolled straight into a lake. They probably thought the car was just rocking from passion, but nope. It was on a one-way trip to Atlantis. The pair drowned before help could arrive. Lesson of the day: cars are not bedrooms. Parking brakes exist for a reason, and waterbeds should never involve an actual body of water. Darwin Award Committee? Approved. Number 3. Faulty aim, fatal. Our third contestant thought he was starring in an action movie. Picture this. Police are chasing him, gun in hand, running like a scene straight out of a low-budget thriller. He decides to fire over his shoulder without looking, because apparently aiming is optional when you're living your bad guy main character fantasy. Only one tiny problem. Instead of hitting the cops, he managed to shoot himself in the head. Yes, you heard that right. He eliminated the competition. And by competition, I mean himself. Some say guns don't kill people. People kill people. But in this case, this guy skipped the middleman. Darwin takes another bow as common sense packs its bags and leaves the room forever. Number 4. Killed by his own booby trap. Meet a retired engineer who apparently had a grudge against his own family, or at least enjoyed turning his home into a real-life Home Alone set. He rigged up a series of booby traps for reasons only he understood. Probably some combination of paranoia, boredom, and too many spy movies. The problem? He wasn't Kevin McAllister. One day he walked straight into his own trap and killed himself. Yes, this guy was outsmarted by his own invention. It's like designing a mousetrap, then testing it with your own finger. And losing. The kicker? These traps were supposedly for unwanted relatives. I think it's safe to say he succeeded in keeping them away forever. Because who's visiting a house where the homeowner can't even survive his own defense system? Number 5. Bottom of the barrel. And now, let's roll back a century to meet Charles Stevens, an English daredevil with a dream and a total disregard for physics. He wanted to make history by going over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Other people had done it and survived, so why not him? Well, Charles decided to add a twist. He strapped an anvil to his feet for stability. You know, because nothing says safe trip like a 200-pound weight pulling you straight to the bottom of the river. The barrel shattered on impact, leaving only the anvil in Charles's arm, still strapped inside, as evidence of his genius plan. Congratulations, Charles! Not only did you fail the stunt, you also invented the world's most useless anchor. Number 6. Barrel of methanol magic. Washington State, 2010. Some people go to the park with a sled. Others, they see a 55-gallon barrel of methanol and think, this will make a fantastic ride. Spoiler alert, it did not. Our star of the day sat on this highly flammable, unstable barrel, expecting it to glide down a hill like some kind of budget bobsled. But instead of providing thrilling speed, the barrel exploded, turning this stunt into an impromptu fireworks show with only one participant and 0 happy endings. Folks, if your sled of choice doubles as hazardous material, you're not doing extreme sports. You're doing extreme stupidity. Somewhere, a physics teacher sighed, shook their head, and added this one to their why I drink list. Number 7. The drive-thru disaster. Picture this. A woman pulls up to a kiosk in her car, probably to grab something small. But instead of putting the car fully in park, she leaves her foot on the brake. She then leans out the window to pick up a card she dropped. Gravity, always the opportunist, takes over as her foot slips. The car rolls forward, and her head gets trapped between the car and the kiosk. It's the kind of mistake that makes you wish life had a rewind button, or at least a big neon sign that says, put the car in park before doing yoga outside the window. Sadly, this mishap went from minor inconvenience to full-blown tragedy in seconds. It was supposed to be an ordinary errand, but poor judgment and bad timing combined for a very Darwinian ending. Number 8. Bulldozer protest. There are safer ways to make a political statement. Holding a sign, chanting, even wearing a chicken suit if you're feeling theatrical. But this particular woman decided those were too boring. Her brilliant idea: climb onto the shovel of a moving armored bulldozer. Apparently, the plan was to make the machine stop by sheer presence alone. Unfortunately, bulldozers aren't known for their delicate maneuvering, and they're even less known for stopping instantly when someone decides to treat their shovel like a moving lounge chair. She fell under the tracks, and the protest ended in tragedy. Moral of the story: heavy machinery is not a stage for performance art. If your protest plan relies on a driver with perfect reflexes and a shovel doubling as a seat, maybe it's time to rethink the strategy. Number 9. The pond pipe genius. Our next contestant proves that age doesn't always bring wisdom. This 61-year-old man noticed debris clogging a pond pipe on his property. Instead of, say, waiting for daylight, grabbing proper tools, or even wearing a life jacket, he decided to tackle the job at night, alone, like a budget version of an action hero. He went in head first, literally, to try and clear the pipe. The water flow was stronger than expected, and without flotation or backup, he drowned. Here's the rule of thumb, folks. When you're working near water that can suck you in, a life jacket isn't optional fashion. It's a survival plan. Darwin doesn't hand out awards for bravery, only for impressively poor decision-making. Number 10. The moped versus Flash. Flood, we have a man on a moped who thought he could outrun both the police and a flash flood. Picture this cinematic chase. Sirens blaring, rain pouring, and our hero zooming off on a scooter that probably tops out at 30 miles per hour downhill with a tailwind. The floodwaters, unsurprisingly, didn't care about his escape attempt. He misjudged a swollen creek, drove straight into it, and the current swept him away. Here's a quick public service announcement. If you're trying to flee, maybe don't choose a moped during a flood. Water is undefeated, and mopeds aren't exactly amphibious vehicles. Darwin likely gave this one a special mention for combining two bad ideas: running from the cops and challenging a natural disaster into one unforgettable exit. Number 11. The DIY balloon flight. If you've ever watched a weather balloon floating in the sky and thought, I want to do that, stop right there. Because one man decided to tie thousands of balloons to a garden chair in an attempt to live out his homemade hot air balloon fantasy. At first, the plan worked. He started rising into the air, likely grinning from ear to ear, thinking he was pioneering a new form of travel. But here's the thing about gravity. It's not a suggestion. Somewhere along the ascent, he slid off the chair. Without a parachute, that romantic airborne adventure ended the only way it could, tragically. Folks, flight is a science. Garden furniture and party balloons are not aircraft materials. Even the Wright brothers are looking down at this and saying, we risked our lives for this? Number 12. Chimney sweeping. Here we have a man with a clogged chimney and the kind of imagination that should have been illegal. Instead of calling a professional or even using, say, a broom, he decided to solve the problem with a hand grenade. Yes, you read that right. A live explosive. The plan? Toss it up the chimney to blast away the blockage. The reality? The grenade didn't quite make it out. Instead, it turned his house into a very short-lived fireworks display, taking him with it. If there were a Hall of Fame for questionable home improvement projects, this would be the main exhibit. Darwin DIY. When tools aren't enough, use military ordnance. Truly a shining example of how problem-solving can go horribly, hilariously wrong. Number 13. The Segway Saga. You'd think that the inventor of the Segway would know its limits better than anyone else. But apparently, curiosity got the better of him. One day, he decided to test just how rugged his personal transport device really was. He rode it off-road near a cliff and went one step too far, literally. The Segway rolled over the edge, and both rider and invention met a tragic end at the bottom. It's the ultimate irony, creating a product designed to safely transport people only to have it be the vehicle of your own demise. Even Darwin himself probably paused on this one, muttering, "That's not evolution, that's just bad luck and worse navigation." Number 14. Shotgun stunt. Some couples play board games, others watch movies. This couple invented a game that nobody in their right mind would ever try. The fun activity involved placing the barrel of an unloaded shotgun against a particularly sensitive area of the husband's anatomy, let's call it the do not disturb zone, and pulling the trigger. Apparently, they had done this before without issue. But on this fateful day, someone forgot to check if the shotgun was actually unloaded. The inevitable happened, and the man's name was instantly added to the Darwin Awards Hall of Fame. Morale of the story: firearms are not toys, especially not for bizarre party tricks. There's a reason Russian Roulette for Beginners isn't a best-selling book, and this case explains why. Number 15. The Sewage Surprise. Thievery is already not the brightest idea, but this thief managed to make it a whole lot worse. He tried to siphon gas from a parked motorhome, probably hoping for a quick and easy score. But instead of hitting the gas tank, he plugged his siphon hose into the sewage tank. By the time authorities found him, He had fled the scene in a state of utter disgust, having taken a mouthful of something that definitely wasn't fuel. Though not fatal, this fiasco still earned him a special mention Darwin Award for proving that crime doesn't pay, and sometimes it leaves a really bad taste in your mouth. Literally. Somewhere, every honest mechanic in the world read this story and said, "Good, serves you right." Number 16, DIY bungee jumping. You know what makes bungee jumping thrilling yet safe? Professional equipment and people who understand physics. Unfortunately, this next daredevil skipped both. He tied several bungee cords together, thinking he could replicate the real thing from a bridge. The issue? He forgot one crucial detail. Bungee cords stretch. A lot. So when he jumped, expecting a nice, controlled rebound, he instead learned that his cord was too long. The result was a full-speed dive straight into the ground. This one could almost be a math problem in a high school textbook. If your bungee cord stretches X feet and the bridge is Y feet high, how long do you live? The answer is not long enough to get a refund on your homemade safety gear. Number 17, Avalanche Encore. Our next star was a snowmobiler who loved the thrill of high marking, which basically means driving up steep, snowy slopes to see how high you can go. The problem? Avalanche warnings were in effect. He triggered one avalanche, barely survived, and instead of saying, "Maybe I should stop," he went back for round 2. This time, the mountain had had enough. A second avalanche swept down, and this time, he didn't make it out. Nature is patient, but it's not forgiving when you keep poking it with a snowmobile. As they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Well, that's how you get your name on a Darwin Awards list. Number 18, paragliding canal dive. And now we have a paragliding enthusiast who learned that not every landing is a smooth one. He came down in a canal, which might have been survivable, except for one thing. His parachute filled with water and dragged him under. Despite his attempts to free himself, the heavy, waterlogged chute acted like an anchor. Rescue teams couldn't get to him in time, and what should have been an adventurous flight turned into a tragic reminder that water plus tangled equipment is a deadly mix. Public service announcement: if your hobby involves strings, cords, or fabric sails, have a plan for what happens if you land somewhere wet. Evolution doesn't hand out do-overs when bad luck meets bad planning. Number 19, dumpster diving disaster. Dumpster diving can sometimes be an odd but harmless hobby, or just the result of a bad night out. But for one unfortunate soul, a drunken decision to climb into a dumpster turned into a one-way ticket to the Darwin Awards. He likely thought he was safe, curled up among cardboard boxes and last night's pizza crusts. But fate had other plans. A garbage truck rolled up early in the morning, tipped the entire contents into its compactor, including him. And well, let's just say the truck won. Lesson learned? Sleeping in dumpsters is not only unpleasant, it's literally life-threatening. Natural selection doesn't have a snooze button, folks. Number 20. Manhole Mayhem, chemistry class gone wrong. Next up is a story straight out of a cautionary tale for every science teacher. A biology teacher, of all people, decided to dispose of some chemicals by pouring them down a manhole. Apparently, nobody warned her that mixing unknown chemicals with sewer gases is like playing Russian roulette with a chemistry set. The result? A massive explosion launched the heavy manhole cover into the air like a missile, and it came down with deadly precision, striking her fatally. This is one of those moments where even the most laid-back safety inspector would throw down their clipboard and say, "You're teaching science, and you thought this was a good idea?" Darwin sighed. Nature shook its head, and another unfortunate name was added to the list. Number 21. Runway Roulette. Our next contestant thought an airport runway would make a nice shortcut for a bike ride. Maybe they figured it was just a long, flat road with no traffic lights. Unfortunately, he forgot that runways have traffic of a much scarier kind, airplanes with rapidly spinning propellers. As a plane was landing, the cyclist somehow managed to collide directly with one of those propellers. The outcome was tragically predictable. This one feels like it should have been obvious. Roads are for bicycles. Runways are for planes. Mixing the two is a little like trying to share a swimming pool with a shark. You're not the main character in that story. You're the snack. Number 22. The Freezer Robbery. This next Darwin Award proves that being a bad guy doesn't mean you're smart about it. A would-be restaurant robber broke in expecting easy money. But the staff weren't having it. They overpowered him, tied him up with duct tape, and locked him inside a walk-in freezer. You'd think someone would have called the cops right away, but apparently, either panic or poor timing left the guy stuck there far too long. By the time authorities opened the freezer, it was too late. Hypothermia had beaten justice to the punch. Darwin Award judges likely gave this one a cold case trophy. If you're going to break the law, at least make sure you don't end up outsmarted by duct tape and a giant fridge. Number 23. Mugger versus Tigers. And now we have a mugger who made a series of very bad decisions. First, he picked a zookeeper as his target. Second, when trying to escape, he climbed into a tiger enclosure. Now, if you've ever seen a tiger, you know they don't take kindly to unexpected guests. The big cats treated him not as a criminal intruder, but as a moving chew toy. Zoo staff eventually managed to intervene, but not before nature had already made its point loud and clear. It's one of those rare Darwin moments where poetic justice meets natural selection. If you're going to commit a crime, maybe don't do it next to large predators with claws and teeth designed for dismembering dinner. The tigers didn't call the police. They didn't have to. Number 24. The plunger and washing machine catapult. Every household has a plunger and a washing machine. Most of us keep them separate because, well, one handles laundry and the other handles plumbing disasters. But according to this long-standing Darwin Awards tale, someone decided to combine them for what might have been the weirdest DIY stunt ever attempted. Details are fuzzy, but here's the gist. The individual reportedly used a plunger as part of some catapult stunt involving a washing machine. The plan was apparently to hop off the washer mid-cycle or during some bizarre balancing act, landing safely while showing off this brilliant homemade trick. Unfortunately, gravity, sharp angles, and one poorly positioned plunger had other plans. The unlucky stunt performer allegedly landed on the plunger in a way that nature clearly did not intend, resulting in instant fatality. Whether every detail is true or not, the story has been circulating long enough to earn a spot in Darwin lore. It's the kind of tale that makes you sit back and think, somewhere, someone actually thought this was a good idea. It's tragic, absurd, and a reminder that washing machines are for clothes, plungers are for toilets, and combining them should never involve full-body acrobatics. Number 25. The Icy River prank. Now to a confirmed type of fatal mistake that has sadly happened multiple times in real life. Pushing someone into an icy river as a joke, then jumping in yourself. Even though you can't swim, the Darwin Award recipient in question thought it would be hilarious to shove his girlfriend into freezing water. She surfaced quickly, angry but fine, because unlike him, she knew how to swim. Not satisfied with his first act of poor judgment, he leapt in after her, perhaps to keep the joke going or prove a point. One glaring issue, he couldn't swim and the water was near freezing. This is where nature stops laughing. Cold water shock is brutal. It steals your breath, locks up your muscles, and drags you under before you realize what's happening. While his girlfriend managed to fight the current and reach safety, he sank beneath the icy surface and never came back up alive. There's no humor in the outcome, only grim irony. It's the classic Darwin Award formula. Take reckless behavior, mix it with zero preparation, and let natural selection write the ending. It's tragic, it's unnecessary, and it's one of those moments where even the river seemed to say, "You brought this on yourself, buddy." And there you have it. Another round of epic battles between humans and basic survival skills, with nature winning every single time. If these stories taught us anything, it's that gravity, water, and common sense are undefeated. But people keep trying anyway. If you enjoyed watching evolution hand out trophies for terrible decisions, make sure to hit that subscribe button, because there are plenty more of these jaw-dropping, head-shaking stories to come. And hey, if you've ever witnessed a real-life moment that deserves a Darwin Award nomination, one of those "I can't believe they thought that would work" kind of tales, drop it in the comments below. Who knows? Your story might make it into the next video. Until then, stay safe, stay smart, and remember, if your plan sounds like something out of a bad action movie, maybe just don't do it